This one, don't need to drive. We're going to do some role playing on this. How many of our customers don't need to drive a car? Why would you not want to drive a car? You're about to spend 50 grand. We need to know the psychology of this. Why would I not want to drive this car? There's only one answer that's the truth. And every now and then, one customer will tell you the truth. What's the truth, Jacob? What's the real answer that all of them are saying, but only once in a while someone will tell you? They go, if I drive it, I'll buy it. That's right? I don't want to drive. If I drive it, I'll buy it. That's the one answer. That's the only truth answer. The rest of them say, all cars drive the same. I bought my last car without driving it, right? I don't have time to drive it. I just want to see if the payments work first, right? It boils down to three. There's three ways they don't want to drive your car, I found, unless you guys can inform me on some new ones right here. But to me, the three that I always find is either all new cars drive the same, or all cars drive the same, or my coworker has one, I rode in it, something along those lines. I didn't drive my last car. Something like, right? They all kind of fall together. Okay, what I use for those scenarios, and I'll use a third party. Okay, who's ever heard of Feel, Felt, Found? Has anybody heard that before? Okay, this is a scenario where I would use that right there. I used to feel the same way. Okay, I found this and blah blah blah. Okay, so I'll use a third party story and I'll say, you know what, Dom? I used to think the same thing. Okay, I had a lady buy a car from me just 6 months ago. She knew exactly what she wanted, and she said the same thing, Dom. She goes, all new cars drive the same. And I go, you know what, you're probably right. She took the car home, and a week later, she brought it back, and she said, Curtis, can I return it? Why? She goes, it's killing my back. I can't be in it more than 5 minutes, and my back is killing me. I can't drive this car. And you know what happened? I can't return the car, Dom. It's not even my choice. That's California law. There's no return policy in California. She traded the car in. She lost tax, license, and depreciation because the car is only new once. You lose 15% as soon as you drive off the lot. She lost tax, license, and depreciation. Her not taking that 2-minute test drive cost her $11,000, Dom. And I promised myself I would never do that to a customer again. Can we at least take it around the block so I feel better about it? Okay? I'm going to fucking drive this car. We're going to drive this car. Okay? I'm going to use a third-party story right there. Okay? I'm not going to give up just because they said all new cars drive the same. And you know what? I used to think the same thing. Here's what happened to me. Okay? Cost this lady 11 grand. Okay? Who was here with me back in the Lithia days? I think you might have been here. I had a customer bought a Nissan Titan. They lost $12,000 the very next morning because they couldn't shut the garage. The garage wouldn't shut all the way. You remember that or not? 12 grand lost very next morning. The garage wouldn't shut. They traded it in for a smaller truck. I mean, when you actually have a true story you could tell, it helps. If not, make one up. Okay? How about this one? Here's the other one. I don't have time. Okay, so if somebody tells me I don't have time to drive it, I just want to go inside and work the deal. Am I going to bring up a third-party story? No, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. What's the objection right here? You guys have to be aware of what's coming at you. Time. So how am I going to get them to do what I want while providing a customer benefit, while making them believe that I'm doing it in their favor? I have to show them I value their time. Okay, so I'm going to repeat it back to them. They say, Curtis, I don't want to drive it. I don't have a whole lot of time. Gurdeep, it sounds like you're limited on time. Am I right? Is that what he just said? Yes. In his head, duh, is what I just fucking said, right? Gurdeep, it sounds like you're limited on time. Okay? The last thing I want to do, Gurdeep, is go in there and negotiate a deal which could take up to 45 minutes, come out, drive the car, and you don't even like the way the car drives. Now I've wasted an hour of your time when it only takes 2 minutes to take the car around the block. Can we take it around the block first and make sure it's worth your time negotiating? Whose benefit? Does that not sell? Whose concern am I concerned with? Okay, you guys got to be making notes on this so you can get this down. You need to be able to say it as fluid as I say it and as confident as I say it because they always tell me yes. Whatever I ask them to do, they say yes. Okay, because I've drilled these reps so many times. Okay, it sounds like time is important to you, Gurdeep. It sounds like you're limited on time. Am I right? The last thing I want to do is go in there and negotiate for 45 minutes. Then take the car for a drive and you not even like the way the car drives. Now I've wasted an hour of your time when it only takes 2 minutes to take it around the block. If I miss any one of those pieces right there, it don't come out the same. I can't say, hey, this is 45 minutes and only takes 2 minutes. It doesn't drive the same impact. The impact is when I say, and now I've wasted an hour of your time. That's the driver. Does that make sense? We go in there and negotiate for 45 minutes, then come out and drive the car, and you don't even like the way the car drives. And now, Gurdeep, I've wasted an hour of your time when it only takes 2 minutes to take it around the block. Let's take it around the block and make sure it's worth your time negotiating. Is that fair enough? Is he going to say no to that? Is anybody in the right mind going to say no to that? No. Because remember, time's not the problem. What's the only real problem here? Emotion. If I drive the car, I'll buy it. Okay? He threw out time to me, so I have to use time back. But the real problem is I don't want to get emotionally attached to the car. It's always the same. Okay? What's the third one? I want to go work the numbers first. I need to make sure it fits in my budget first, right? Is this what they ask? If you guys are getting hit with a new one, let me know so I can come up with something that'll work for you. Okay? But to my knowledge, it's always been the same thing. It's either all new cars drive the same. I bought my last car without driving it. My coworker has one. We take it to lunch every day. Either they tell me they have some type of experience in the car already, okay, or they tell me they don't have time, or they tell me they want to work the payments first. There's no sense of driving if I can't get to my payment. Is there any other ones, or does that cover about all of them?
What if they tell you they just came from a different dealer to build the same car? Would you still consider that like all cars drive the same?
I go to third party. I go, you know what? Just 4 months ago, I had a lady tell me the same thing, okay? And I go right back to it. Okay, all cars, they might be built the same. When I grew up, my grandpa told me never buy a car that was built on a Friday or a Monday. They told me if it's built on a Friday, the workers are just concerned about getting out of there and they make mistakes. And if it was built on a Monday, they're hungover. He said never buy a car on a Friday or a Monday. Have you ever heard that before? Yeah. If you're dealing with an old timer, they know exactly what you're saying. Okay, but either way, it creates a third party story. Point being, these things are built by men. They're all going to be a little bit different. Okay. That would go back to a third party right there. But if I'm going to, I want to see numbers first, okay? Gurdeep, let me ask you something. I completely understand what you're saying. But if we go in there and we work out these numbers, and this takes 30, 40 minutes usually, and I get the numbers to 110% of your satisfaction, right where you want to be, and then when we drive the car, you do not even like the way the car drives, would you still buy the car just because it got to your payment? Of course you wouldn't. Let's take it around the block first and make sure it's worth going in there and negotiating for. Is that fair enough? That one, the tagline on that is, would you still buy it? That's what you want to write down so you can remember that. Okay? So you got third party, time. You need to reiterate the time, how important their time is to them. The last thing I'd want to do is waste an hour of your time. And the third one's payment. Would you still buy it? Andrew, if we go in there and negotiate for 30 minutes and I get that payment to 110% of your satisfaction right where you want to be, and the car drives like shit, would you still buy the car just because it got to your payment? No. Of course you wouldn't. None of us would. Let's take it around the block and make sure it's worth your time. Is that fair enough? Make it easy for them to say yes, okay? What I'm doing right there is I'm taking exactly what they gave me, I'm boomeranging it right back to them, making sense of the scenario where it makes it so hard for them to say no to. That make sense, Eric? Boomerang it right back to them, okay?